There's no better feeling in golf than that pure, crisp strike. When the ball compresses against the club face, launches off the turf, and flies straight and true. It sounds different, feels different, and for a moment, everything just clicks. But for most golfers, that feeling is rare. Maybe you're hitting it thin or fat, or just not getting the distance you know you should be. You keep trying new tips, but nothing consistently works. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you and break down the one move that makes compressing the golf ball incredibly easy, no matter your age, flexibility, or handicap. It's a move that simplifies everything, and it's all to do with your right arm. So for those of you watching and this is one of your first videos, welcome. I'm Harry, a golf teach professional, posting content just like this every single week to help you lower your score. So if you do take these tips and drills on board into your own game, consider clicking that subscribe button, as there's loads more content coming out every single week to help you improve your game. Now, in order to be able to compress the golf ball, we want to be ensuring that we have our hands ahead of the club face at impact. That's a great indication that we are actually moving into the golf ball with our arms, body, hands, and then the golf club on a more descending angle into the back of that golf ball. Most amateur golfers, when they tend to try this, they struggle to do this. They have that tendency of jumping out the way, ending up flipping the golf club over, and for some strange reason, they can't quite stop doing this. But what if I was to tell you that there was a cause to this movement? There was a cause to you jumping up, standing out the way, struggling to keep those hands ahead of the club face. You get those thins, you get those fats, everything becomes inconsistent. So if I was just to bring the camera angle here now, and I'm just going to set up so you can see me here from the side on view. If I was just to make my backswing and move the club into a certain position where I allow my right arm to roll, I allow the right wrist to roll over, so the club face itself, the leading edge, is pretty much vertical in relation to the ground. Well, if I was just to hold that there and rotate down into the golf ball, take a look at this from the face on view here if I was just to do that. Just from this position here, I'm rotating down into the golf ball. If I keep my hands ahead, I'm leaving the club face massively open. So what have you got to do from this position to square things up? You've got to push the handle back. You've got to give yourself more time to hit the golf ball, to do this release here to square things up. That's where you get this ever so slight casting motion, you get the flipping, you get that release taking place too early in your golf swing, and it makes it very difficult to rotate and get the compression. So rather than seeing the club face here, how can we see it in a more reliable square position? Because if you can keep the club face what looks like here ever so slightly closed, watch this. If I was just to have the club face that's looking ever so slightly more closed from this side on camera angle here, you can see. Watch what happens here now when I turn my body into this golf ball. Everything squares up. The club face squares up. The question is, how do we do this? So to kick things off, I'm going to ask you to take the club away and stand up with me now if you're watching this on the big screen, and just simply take your lead arm, so for right-handed golfers, the left arm, and place it somewhere just underneath your chest here so it's out of the way. Your trail arm, your right arm in particular, is going to come out in front of you with the palm facing towards your target like I have here. When I've set my arm into this position here, I've not allowed this elbow to point away. So just a quick checkpoint here. For the setup of the right arm, we just want that elbow tucked inwards. So when I say tucked inwards, I'm just simply here allowing my forearm to what we call externally rotate. External rotation is rotation moving away from the body, the center of the body here. Internal is this action, where the arm is rotating inwards towards the body. External is the opposite. So you can simply just take your hand out and place it pointing towards the ground, so the palm facing towards the ground, and just allow that palm to rotate so it's facing upwards. And then all you have to do from there is twist your wrist over, and you're set into position to now tilt over into your posture. As you make your way into the backswing here, all I want you to focus on is two things. Keeping this right arm connected to the body, okay, by just keeping it nice and tucked in here throughout that golf swing, but to also allow As you start to move the hand back into this position here, the takeaway position, ensure that that palm faces towards the ground, and also just allow your wrist to hinge upwards in that trail wrist there. So you can see there I'm just allowing my right palm to face towards the ground by just turning the body ever so slightly, but I'm also encouraging that palm to face towards the ground by hinging my wrist here. Now if I was just to take the club quickly again, just to show you what that should look like when you start to practice this using the golf club, let's just say you've done 10, 20 reps just rehearsing that first movement, then you take the golf club and bring this into the actual swing itself. The idea of this is just to get the feeling of that trail palm setting into that position there. So with the golf club, left arm's on now just for the time being, just to guide the club into that position. Now you can see a big difference there if you were to compare that screenshot that my editor's taking here now, and comparing that to the actual takeaway beforehand of what I mentioned that a lot of golfers struggle with the takeaway. You can see there the club face angle is totally different. The way we've set our wrist, our trail wrist in particular, is completely different. Easy checkpoint again. If the club face is nice and square, your trail hand, your right hand, is staying on top of your left, and the palm is facing towards the ground. As soon as you allow this club face to open up on the backswing, the left hand now actually moves on top of the right. As you can see if we were just to zoom in here, left hand is on top of my right here. Opens up the club face, but also, if I was just to take the club away, where's my palm pointing? It's pointing upwards. We want the palm to face down. So palm facing down towards the ground. That's that there for the takeaway. And you can just simply start things off. I've put this hole here a little bit too far for chip shots, but you can literally just try and just work your way up into this point here and allow yourself to hold that angle and turn through. And if you just listen to that strike again on the replay here, that was so much easier. It just looked easier to be able to then rotate into the back of the golf ball. So much more compressed. How can we build this up into the full golf swing? Now, before we dive into this part, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Tour Caddie. They're a UK-based company building an innovative all-in-one golf bag and trolley system. I'm working with them behind the scenes as they develop the product and explore early investment conversations. If you're into golf gear innovation or curious about where this project is heading, check out tourcaddie.co.uk. This isn't financial advice, I'm just sharing something I'm involved in that might be of interest to some of you watching. So let's jump back in. Well, to build this up into the full golf swing, it's very simple from the takeaway point here, working your way up to the top of the golf swing. You're just holding this angle that you've set and you're allowing the body to turn. And that's going to set you into the great position that all the tour players have in the top of their back swings, where we tend to see this lead wrist here at the top of the golf swing nice and flat, trail wrist here ever so slightly hinged back, just like this. So what will happen usually in the downswing is golfers will struggle to maintain this angle, to maintain this wrist setting in the downswing, because they allow the club to open up. So what happens here is the right palm has gone from pointing towards the ground to facing upwards on the downswing. This is the key element. If you're going to take anything away from this video today, you want to be really nailing this point. So as we come into the downswing, we want to push our trail arm down and allow it to rotate. So what you can see here is two combinations. It's two things combined together. So as I make my way into the downswing, I'm just simply pushing my arm away from me and allowing my arm to actually rotate over without changing the wrist setting. So these two things here from the top of the golf swing working together form this angle. So I'm actually allowing my arm here to push and extend down and away during the downswing. You're probably thinking, well, if the right arm's going to extend fully, is that not going to cause us to want to flip the golf club anyway? Well, the wrist has more of an influential factor on where our hands are at impact. To keep them ahead, we want a nice strong arm position, arm structure to make our way back down into where the club would reach parallel to the ground. And then from there we can rotate. So the drill is setting the palm turning up, pushing down, and rotating the forearm over. So it's up to the top, push, and rotate down. So how this should look with the golf club: up to the top of the golf swing as normal, push down, and rotate the arm. So you can see there that my toe end of the golf club here is well ahead of the heel. That's a great checkpoint here to be able to then continue this rotation into that back of the golf ball again. That's keeping my hands ahead of the club face. Now when you start to rehearse that, there is no harm in you adding a little bit extra force into this just to really get some momentum going, because that's going to make things much easier when you try doing this with fuller golf swings. But just to break things down, whenever you want to practice this in stages, how it would work is one for the takeaway here, palm to ground, palm upwards, hand back down, pushing the arm down as you rotate the forearm, and then it's push down and compress the golf ball. Now that one went a little bit to the left just because I really exaggerated this and I didn't quite rotate on the way through. So let's just hit a shot here now, just from the top of the golf swing, really forcing this action here with my trail arm as I allow my body to rotate. So I've allowed the body to rotate there. It started a bit right, it's wanting to curve back, and I've got a little bit unlucky with the slope on this tough golf hole here in Canada at Cabot Cliffs. So pretty good shot, really nice and compressed. Let's just take a look at what that attack angle was into the golf ball. -4.3, you can see that there in the bottom left-hand corner. Now for anything like a mid-iron, 8-iron, 6-iron, you want to be looking at reasonably around that -4 degree mark, I would recommend. But when you are working on this using a TrackMan, for example, or any other launch monitor, there's no harm in trying to beat that. If I was your coach, I'd much rather see you in a much lower descending attack angle, -6, -7 maybe doing this, as opposed to the opposite. Because the more you can exaggerate it in stages, when you start to build this into your full swing, it's not going to be as exaggerated. It's going to start to calm down and go back to, hopefully, that -4 mark. So really exaggerating one just before we dive into how you can build this into an all-in-one motion golf swing. Really try to push the hands down, push that hand down. Much better golf shot there. Played it onto the right side of the pin being the left. And looking at the attack angle there, -5.8, much better, and I could feel the difference there with the strike as well. The hard thing is when you start to apply a lot more speed and start to implement this into your actual golf swing itself, it's very easy for us to lose the positions that we've worked hard on. So after you've done those reps in stages, is there something that you can use to be able to maintain this setting, allow you to get this wrist set in the correct position to then just simply rotate and hit the golf ball? Well, there is, and that is called the precision impact. So what this allows you to do, it has a clicking mechanism that allows you to set the wrist into the correct position. So when I take the club back and focus on that first position in the takeaway, listen to what happens. If I allow my right arm just to do its thing, you can see there that that's allowed me to get the club set into position, but I've also locked my wrists by clearing those clicks, making my way into that takeaway. So if I was just to move back down into the golf ball, I can't bring my hand and wrist out of this angle. It locks my wrist into place here. So once you've set the wrist on the way back, there's no way you're going to be able to flip that golf club on the way through. So what do you think this is going to force you to do? It's not going to force you to back out of the golf shot because you've got the club in the correct position on the way back and then in the correct position on the way down. It's going to allow you, really force you to add more rotation. So when you force more rotation, that's what's required to be able to hold the club face. And you can build this into your full swing without using this. This just makes it so much easier because it stops you from making any of the mistakes that I tend to see once you build this up into your full golf swing. You can get this at $20 off by using the discount code HARRY20. I'll leave the description down below so you can get yourself one of these products if you think this will be useful for your golf swing. That was a nice shot to finish. I could really feel then myself wanted to release the golf club last minute, and God, it really forced me to just to keep that angle there on the way through. Lovely shot there to finish as well. Look at that, straight into the middle of the club face there on the impact video. Really chuffed with that shot just to finish off this video. So if you've come this far, I'd recommend clicking that subscribe button, as there's lots more content coming your way every single week. And why not check out this video over here if you're looking for more tips to help you improve the compression on your irons. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in that one over there.